Can you pronounce your name for me so I don't do a mistake pronouncing your name?
It's Haukur. Haukur.
Haukur.
Yeah.
Haukur. Okay. Okay, Haukur. Thank you for sharing your time with me. I know you are in a very special place, and you are reporting from a rather difficult zone. And so, thanks very much. Welcome to my community, to my channel. And I won't take too much of your time because I know you have been having a very busy day. And soon there will be curfew in where you are, so you have to be you have to be home now anyway. But let's.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to be with you.
Haukur, you are just a little bit of your background. You are a journalist from Iceland. That is correct.
Yeah, I'm a journalist for Iceland, and I have been working for 30 years plus, even in Soviet Union and Russia. So I'm quite experienced reporter and journalist in Russian Federation now, from Iceland, right?
Thank you. So I would start to ask you, if you have been reporting there and working there for a long time, I would start by asking you about the recent situation that is occurring in Suja, in the Kursk region, where the Russian army has managed to trap a significant number of Ukrainian soldiers. And these Ukrainian soldiers are known for having committing war crimes in this region. And recently, Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, have issued a request to the president of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, to spare their lives. And I think everyone has seen these declarations. President Vladimir Putin has said these are war criminals, but because of the request, he would attend this request only if there is an official request from the government in Kiev. So, what is your take on this? How do you see this? Do you think the position of the president of the Russian Federation is the correct from a diplomatic stance? What is your take on this?
Yeah, I think it's correct in a way that he wants peace with the West. He has common language with Mr. Trump in Washington. That's completely different as with the Biden administration, the Democratic Party, Antony Blinken, the State Secretary, and so on. So they have at least dialogue, which is very, very important. But they have no request from and even no connection, because Mr. Zelensky he has banned all negotiations by laws with the Russian Federation and Putin and so on. So, but it's pretty clear that those notorious forces of foreign mercenaries, of nationalistic battalions which went into Kursk region, they have been the most. Those were the most. They had the most motivated forces with all kind of fascistic symbolics and so on. They have been definitely, and the Russians are proving this and sending out all kind of proofs and reports and news and so on, and videos and so on. Those notorious forces, they have been committing absolutely clear war crimes in Kursk region, in Suja, and in other cities and towns, just by murdering, torturing old people, children, old men, civilians, not military people, and so on. And they have been executing, POWs as well, and so on. But there are numerous proofs of war crimes from those people. We are talking about mercenaries from European countries, mostly West European countries, Poland, and with Poland as well. Germany, France, Netherlands, and so on. Very notorious forces. So the stand of Putin is in a diplomatic way, very clever. I think he at last is getting a dialogue and so on, and he also is distinguishing quite clearly between the foreign mercenaries and the state forces of Ukraine. But both of those parties, they have been committing criminal actions and very cruel things in this region.
But do you think that for the sake of this relations with the U.S. administration, that one could close an eye to those deeds if they are indeed proven? And because I tell you why I ask this question. Because it is reasonable to talk in every situation, of course, but the U.S. hasn't been in the speech. They have been lighter than the previous administration. They have been willing to talk, at least. Very different stance. But at the same time, they claim that they stopped the aid to Ukraine, which it doesn't seem that it was even true. And even if it was true, they initiated the aid to Ukraine again only a few days after, just because of the conversation that took place between the Ukrainian delegation and the American delegation in Saudi Arabia. Do you think, and everyone is talking about rearmament in the West, including the West and Europe, don't you think that this kind of this present from Washington might be poisoned?
Yeah, I do agree in a way with you, because I think the Russians, they know already that it's pretty clear that they would use this 1 month period in order to rearm Ukraine, to regroup their forces, to send more and more weaponry, missiles and so on inside Ukraine. Well, now from the European Union, they want to spend, billions and billions of euros, those quite strange governments in the European Union. And the Russians, they have a very bad experience of such, if they take a pause, they are using this in order to rearm Ukraine. And Angela Merkel and Francois Hollande, both of them, they admitted that they were doing this after the Minsk agreements, Minsk 1 and Minsk 2 especially. So I think it's very reasonable if the Russians are not trusting those partners in the West. And as to difference of the behavior of European Union, it's nothing. But after Trump came, I don't think the behavior and the plans of the Ukrainians would change in a way, And how much Zelensky personally is interested in peace and negotiations, because he has now not the legitimacy now. He is not the legitimate president now anymore, according to the constitution of the state. And he personally wants to prolong this war. He doesn't care about those Russians killing other Russians, because those people are Russian people in the east of Ukraine. The vast majority of the people in the Ukrainian air forces, they are Russian people. But they are like just, they are brought up in a very new way. They are brought up in hatred against the neighbor, against the Russians, and very notorious, behavior, training and everything. So I don't know if they do trust them anymore, and of course Zelensky is trying to use these American contacts and to let the Americans change position, but I don't know how successful it will be for him. But anyway, he wants to keep power as long as possible, because he knows pretty well that when he leaves the presidential palace, he's done. Mm-hmm. He's done. He would go to Israel, I don't know, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, or something. Maybe his best friend Emmanuel Macron would take him as a asylum seeker, or as a refugee. They go very on they go pretty well together,
Yes.
embracing each other and so on. But I think that the normal or sober and clever politicians in the West, they wouldn't do any more or to have any more contacts and with this person whose name is Zelensky.
Very well. Don't you think this intention, or at least apparent intention, of peace by the United States, seeking peace, and Donald Trump says he wants to be known as the president of peace, is just another? It's just a recognition of the failure against Russia.
I think that Trump has absolutely another view on the situation and as to American-Russian cooperation and relationship, because when we had those left wing, let's say it's left wing, they call themselves, the Democrats. We are talking about Obama.
Yes.
We are talking about Hillary. We are talking about Victoria Nuland was in the State Department under Antony Blinken. We are talking about Bill Clinton, Yugoslavia, 1999. Those people are quite very much. They are very, very dangerous, But of course, Trump. This is very extraordinary development in the States. This American Revolution. Well, it's a bourgeoisic revolution. It's not from down to up. It's from up till down or something like that, or from the right wing. But it's such a significant changes now, and we are living very, very important and interesting moments. And that, American ordinary people, American working class, American farmers, factory workers, and so on, they chose Trump, and this deep state, this neoliberal, these neoconservative people, they are not in power now anymore in Washington, but they would, and this is, I think the Russians understand, because Sergei Lavrov, I'm in contact with him all the time, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs as a reporter. I attend press conferences, meetings, cocktails, and so on with the foreign ministry, and in very good relationship personally with them. They will do the utmost possible in order to change Russian-American relationship in this few months or some years. Trump will be, and they will try to take advantage maximum of his presence in the White House. I think they respect and understand Marco Rubio pretty well, although he seems to be quite clever diplomat, and Trump chose him, this Cuban fellow from Florida or southern states. So they are getting well on. Lavrov and Rubio are in good relationship, and they can connect and communicate. That's completely another thing with Tony Blinken, which was Antony Blinken, this Zionistic man from the States anyway. And I think they will succeed in very many ways, and this first conversations in Al Riyadh, when they sent those delegations from those foreign services, it was very, very successful. But it's of course now the question is now the people in Brussels and the current government or the current regime in Kiev, how much and how successfully they can sabotage this line between Moscow and Washington. And fortunately, they are now using the red phones, because Biden didn't pick up the red phone. It's allegory, of course, in a way.
Yes,
but they have this red line between it.
Yes, the direct line.
You understand me?
Yes, I do.
The direct, they call it the red line, Krasna Linia or something. So this is quite, I think this is quite important.
Okay. I would like to change subject a little bit, unless you want to add something else on the matter. But I would like to change the subject now, because I know that you are speaking to me from the city of Donetsk, and I have been there myself 2 times now.
Okay.
I have been there in the year 23 and in the year 24. I have seen the evolution. The first time I was there, the front line was still in Avdiivka, and we could hear the sounds of the war very close. And I would like to ask you, I was there last October. I would like to ask you, how is the spirit of the people of Donetsk nowadays? And how is the morale of the troops, if you have encountered any or spoke to any?
Well, the spirit of the people is very high. I would say it's optimistic. Spring is coming. They have like 18, 20 degrees in daytime here, but chilly nights anyway. But they are never going to give up. I was connecting and with different people and of all kinds of which you were mentioning as well, with the military people and so on. So it's absolutely clear that they are going to fight on. They want to go westwards. They would like to go to the Polish border, many of them, but I think it's not very realistic in as for the situation for today. But the spirit is very high, and you just don't beat the Russians. The Soviet people, they showed this 80 years ago, and the Russians, they are going to celebrate the great victory over the fascist Nazi Germany. And as a fact, it was whole Europe which invaded the Soviet Union in 1941.
Yes.
And the elites of Northern America, of Europe, they wanted to conquer Russia, to win Russia, to put down the Soviet government, the first Soviet and socialistic government in this country, and they were waiting Hitler to win, Stalin. But after Stalingrad from September 42 till 2nd of February,
43, yes,
42 till February 43. This was a decisive battle, and then the Soviets, the Russians, and all those 15 republics of the Soviet Union, we shouldn't forget all other peoples than the Russian Federation. They won, and they crushed this terrible power, which put Western Europe down under their feet in several days, several weeks. We are talking about Denmark, Norway,
Belgium,
France, and so on. So people now, they are going to celebrate in spring, in the 9th of May, and they are comparing. We were talking to old people with which they just experienced, and the relatives of them, the presence of this Ukrainian nationalistics powers and battalion, not spots, national battalions, and they just compared with the Nazi Germany, with SS, with the Romanian, Hungarian fascist forces under Ionescu and Horthy, and in a way, and I would say that nothing has changed, and that is the tragic thing in the elites of Europe. Since the war began 90 years ago, and now it's 80 years since the finish. 100 years ago, the fascism was rising up in whole of Europe and so on, and maybe in other countries as well. Everything like we can talk about Japan and so on, and Asian theater, but you just can't win the Russians, and Ursula von der Leyen, Kaja Kallas, this Estonian girl or lady, they would so much like to see Moscow burning. They would so much like to see, tens of thousands of dead Russian soldiers, and they would be glad. It's quite unhealthy people, but I understand the agony they are now experiencing, and the agony of the political elite in Iceland, for example, in Denmark, Mette Frederiksen, those people, they are, in a way, I would say that psychologically quite sick, but they say, this Mette Frederiksen, prime minister of the kingdom of Denmark, they still have kings, kings and queen. And this is supposed to be Scandinavian, so prosperous and progressive. Anyway, she says, peace is worse. Peace is more dangerous than war.
Yes.
This lady, she should be in a pyjama in some psychological hospital,
Yes. This is true.
Sleeping daytime and walking around nighttime, like a zombie or something. But this is the reality now of the Europeans, and they don't want negotiations. They don't want peace. And this is the left wing, this is the social democrats of those Scandinavian countries, and this Finnish Orpi or Alex or Alexander. Anyway, it's a crazy man, the prime minister now of Finland, for example.
Yes,
this fellow is it's just crazy people, and he would, the Finns, they participated in the siege of Leningrad in the 900 days almost, and they had concentration camps in Karelia. They had Russian servants, all of these people, and this is absolutely the same character, or how to put it, as then 80 years ago. This is the it's a I don't know how to put it, but it's a tragedy why people doesn't develop more.
Yes, and how these old ideas are being sold again has very fresh and they are sold as progressive, because they are sold normally as the defense of the freedom and of the European, so-called European values. I understand. And still about Donetsk, you mentioned that you talked with some troops already. When I was there, I had the opportunity to go very close to the front lines and see a lot of Western equipment destroyed. And one of the things that shocked me is that, again, in the land of Donetsk, in Donbass, there was German equipment destroyed. Did you have opportunity to approach the front lines?
Yeah, we were pretty near to the front line, and it was, some bombs. We heard some sounds of shooting and bombs, but the front line is not so very far from Donetsk. But maybe those were exercises or drills or something, But they didn't show me any Panzer or some German tanks, But they claim they burn very well, But as to Germany, we had this Olaf Scholz from the Social Democratic Party of Germany. Now we have Friedrich Merz, is from the conservative, let's say, the Democrats, But the Germans are not going to change anything anyway. We had the Green Party, this Annalena Baerbock. It's just as like a schoolgirl, silly schoolgirl with the worst marks possible in history and in mathematics anyway,
360.
But they sorry?
Annalena 360 degrees. See, she
absolutely Annalena Baerbock, and she's from the Green Party, from the Green Party of Germany, and the left wing is choosing this Green Party.
Okay,
crazy. It's just crazy.
Yes, it is. I recognize that you point out about being this so-called left, and especially the Green Party. I never seen a Green Party so aggressive and so war-mongering like the Green Party of Annalena Baerbock. I don't know if you would like to add a statement before we finish our interview. It is the time now.
Yeah, well, you can just feel sorry for those politicians, you know, and you mentioned this Anna-Lena Baerbock and Habeck and so on from the Green Party. But those people, they are all brought up by some grants. They were studying in US universities. The children is there. But it's very easy to buy those cheap souls, you know. Everything is for sale in Germany. So they are also for sale, those people, and they don't understand that they are leading us towards World War III. The same as Zelensky, you know.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Haukur. I hope I'm not assassinating your name.
Yeah, right. Great.
And thank you very much for your time. I hope you can have your deserved rest, because I do know how the days in Donetsk are. We're always very busy. If you go there and try to see the reality, you have a full day always. And I'm sure you want to get some rest now, and is well deserved. And thank you very much. And I hope to speak with you other time. We have contact in Telegram now. And it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, nice to see you. I have to wake up 3 o'clock in the morning, so nice to see you. All the best. No pasaran, and best greetings over to you.
No pasaran. Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye. Bye.